Preventing and curing diabetes. It is a movement that needs to be on top priority, not only in America, but globally throughout the world. And so I brought together leaders throughout different countries that are working just on this, not only teaching individuals how to be responsible with their diets and to learn how to prevent diabetes, but also are working with governments at top levels to look at the cure and prevention of diabetes. So I want to welcome all of you folks for being here. We have Dr. John Arnold, who is with PrEP, and he goes into countries all over the world and helping with education. We have Gabriel Cousens, who is an MD, and throughout the years, gosh, decades, has been doing humanitarian work. And some of it started in Chicago.
Right.
And has continued throughout, and you're now going into more of the Western African countries.
Right. And Mexico, too.
And Mexico. And then we have Jamie Maxitone Graham. And he's from Papua New Guinea, which coincidentally has the highest number currently of people that are affected by diabetes. And so we're hoping that with what he has learned and what he is doing, that it can help not only educate his country in Papua New Guinea, but these are models and actual facts that can be shared throughout the world. And then we also have with us Nicodemus, and he is from Ethiopia, and he will also be taking back a lot of information and sharing not only with individuals, but with governments that will be creating through the fact-finding and through the evidence of people that are being cured of diabetes, what we need to do to really help, because it's a cost I don't think anyone can afford.
And Nicodemus has the personal experience of healing his diabetes here at the Tree of Life. That certainly validates where he's coming from.
So you want to share a little bit about what that's been like and what you hope to take back to your country?
Well, thank you for giving me this chance. You know, most of our people have no idea regarding how to prevent this diabetes, starting from me. Now there is a good, excellent idea which brought from Dr. Cousin that diabetes can be cured by eating vegetables, which are organic, and doing exercise. You know, this is a very, very crucial thing, not for Americans only, it's global for the world. But you know, most of the people, they don't have information. They don't have information that diabetes can be cured. This is a problem. Not Dr. Cousin is not now he's doing to go to many countries to teach people to get awareness. These people, this is a good idea. It's a good crucial thing to do for the people of the world. Now, when I came here, I had an information from my friends that diabetes can be cured. Then now I am still, frankly, I'm cured. Before it was 96, 98, 100. Today it was 69, 70.
Your blood level, your sugar.
Blood sugar is unbelievable, it decreased 20. I say to give my great deep thank you to Dr. Cousin and Dr. John, as well as my friend Jimmy also. Now I want to now Dr. Cousin and Dr. John will go to Ethiopia to give awareness for the people. Also, when I will get a chance, I will give awareness to my people also.
Talk to your people in your native language. Say just a few words to them.
In Amharic, but እኔ በጣም እዚህ ስመጣ ዲያቤቲክ ወይም የስኳር በሽታ ይድናል የሚል ሰምቼ ነው እና ስኳር ሲጀማምረኝ ጓደኛዬ ዶክተር ጆን የኢፒፒ ኃላፊ ነው እሱ ኢንፎርሜሽኑ ሰጠኝ ሰጠኝ ወደ ፓታጎኒያ የሚባል የዶክተር ካዝን ትልቅ ካርድ ነገር አለው፣ እርሻ አለው፣ ሕክምና ቦታ አለው እና መጣሁ። እንደመጣሁ መጀመሪያ ያደረግነው በምግብ ነው የተከላከልነው። ሌላ ምስጢር የለውም። የምትበላው ምግብ በብዛት አትክልት መሆን አለበት። አትክልትም ለራሱ ችግር አለው፣ ግን ሊስት ችግር ያለው አትክልት ነው ብለው ነው የሚያስተምሩ። ስለዚህ ይሄ ትምህርት መጀመሪያ ጊዜ ስመጣ እዚህ ጁስ ነበር የምንጠጣው፣ የግሪን ሊፍ ጁስ ነው፣ የአትክልት ነበር የምጠጣው እና መጀመሪያ ችግር ነበረ። ከዛ በኋላ ግን እየለመድኩት መጣ። አሁን አትክልት ብበላ እኔ በጣም ደስተኛ ነኝ። እና ሰው ሁሉ መጥቶ እዚህ ቢያየው ኢንፋክት ቦታው ትንሽ ነው፣ ወደ 20 ሰው የሚያስተናግድ ነው። አጋጣሚ አግኝቶ እዚህ የሚመጣ ሰው ቢያገኝ እኔ መቼም በጣም ይጠቅማል ብዬ አስባለሁ።
The beauty of this is it's not theoretical. The beauty of this is when we hear Nicodemus talk about healing his diabetes, and we hear about Jamie healing his diabetes, we have practical reality. And our healing rates are like non-insulin dependent, for non-insulin dependent diabetes is like 61% in 3 weeks. That's kind of unbelievable. But the next step is how do we take it from the clinical setting and take it to a national setting? And what I've tried to do is look at that from a public health point of view. And pretty much what I see is a very simple solution, which is starting to educate the public about what foods create diabetes and what we can do to stop taking those foods in. If you have a poison and that's creating diabetes, stop taking the poison. So that takes it to the national level. And then we go one step further on the national level is to begin working with, at the leadership of the nations to begin promoting legislation, but really education, so that their whole public who they're serving can begin to transform their lives and eliminate diabetes as even part of their vocabulary, because we can simply eliminate the self-inflicted plague of diabetes.
John, do you have anything to add to?
Well, I think if you're talking about the future, Dr. Cousens and I and 2 individuals from Africa formed the West African Rural Empowerment Society, WARES as it's known, and we serve from the U.S. side, and then the president is Dr. C.A.C. Erididi, who's one of the top businessmen in Africa and also a monarch himself. And then we have Nana Otipong Otrabibi III as our vice president. And we've been able to forge with those 4 individuals a very good partnership, because we, from the donor country, very much need to have the people that are highest level in this nonprofit to be those of the receiving country. And we are a 501c3 or a foundation now, so not only charitable giving or humanitarian donation, but all kinds of social investing is very much a possibility, as it had not been previously. We were talking about Cameroon was mentioned just briefly, because that is something that just happened this past summer. All of a sudden we stumble on an association there of diabetics, and now they have their own, first of its kind in all Africa, an incubator for seamstress. So this is a great, I think, indication of maybe where we're going. We're going to places that are receptive. We're going to areas, as Dr. Cousens mentioned earlier, that have the resources. Many of them still live in the rainforest areas or areas of the world where they can get natural foods. So a lot of it is educating and re-educating people to go back. And I remember our message very simply in Nigeria was go back to the ways of your ancestors. And you know what better message? That really resonated with people. And then the micro business side of it. In Nigeria, we've been very successful in forming 2 microcredit programs, and most all of the loans are going to sustainable organic farmers. Now this is very key. If you're in Lagos, Nigeria, or you're in Accra, Ghana, or if you're in Addis, Ethiopia, or in Guinea, Papua area, you have big city centers, but obviously you can't grow organic foods in those cities, so there must be a supply line. So I think our message is very clear as Dr. Cousens comes on and presents the natural cure and prevention of diabetes. We also share how you get to that point and how you sustain the kind of diet and food consumption necessary to make that all a reality. And that's why I think the marriage of our ideas and our lifelong professions and careers have brought us together for a reason. And we can each share our expertise, and we know how each other thinks on these things. So we feel very comfortable when we go to a country. We may not know the language, we may not know all the culture, but we know each other, how we think about these things and the message that we're trying to convey. So I think it's very clear. There is a natural cure and prevention of diabetes, and also through microenterprise, there's a sustainable organic farming. And both of us do this. The tree has a very nice organic farm, as our organization Project PEP does. So we're not only, as Dr. Cousens, talking about a concept. We've lived it all of our lives, and we're continuing to live it and share it as those peoples in other parts of the world. But we're very careful when we go to country not to try to tell people what they need to know. I think we're both very good listeners, and the people tell us what they want to do. If not, we wouldn't have had the nutrition center and the diabetes nutrition center in Ghana. We would not have had the school there in Owerri that Dr. Cousens provided to, but the people told us this is what we want. And then the senior nutrition center in Ethiopia, Bati Betanal, who came here to work in the kitchen, a leader, our husband Dr. Azawi, are great leaders in the country of Ethiopia, and now they have opened their senior nutrition center with the support of the Tree of Life and Project PEP. So I just see a lot of very, very good things going forward, and I'm so excited about talking and meeting the people in the micro business incubator for diabetic women seamstress. I just think that is so exciting, and that's another thing I think is very good what we do. We take microenterprise, we take diabetes, and they're not just sewing there, but we're going to have lessons from Dr. Cousens. We're going to have a little library in there, and from that sewing shop, there's also going to be the message. It's going to be a loudspeaker that will start our work together in Cameroon.
Well, you know, the funny thing is you're also creating entrepreneurs.
Exactly.
So you're doing a lot of things as people are getting their well-being and their health and their focus and their present, then they can do what they're inspired. And so you're creating on all levels economic benefits.
Yes. And we're empowering people, as you say, but we're empowering them in a direction that fights diabetes and also provides social development as well as economic development. And these ingredients are so important in what Dr. Cousens' life's work's been about and what my work's been about in PEP. And I think bringing those together is a real dynamic force for the future. And I hope people that see this will understand that social investors are important. And also, it's not just money. It's about giving. We know from a fact now that it's a very famous surgeon and his wife in Los Angeles. And we found out they're from the same kingdom where Dr. Cousens has his nutrition site. So now we're going to approach them about maybe doing their vacation to come back. So there's a lot that we can do without just money, but it's we're an NGO of ideas, but we're also, as Dr. Cousens, we're one of action. We're not just about talking about things. We can show what we've been doing.
Well, you know, it's been proven, and I think it's coming more to the forefront, that your well-being is your true wealth. As much as the earth's soil is, again, the wealth of the earth. And so having a global group like you folks and seeing some of the same dynamics and where you're bringing things, I wanted to ask Jamie, you're in a Pacific Island country, you're in Papua New Guinea. What are some of the things you hope, and what have you, moving forward, learned to take back? And give us a little background on how you hope to bring this back to Papua New Guinea.
really alarmed at the rate of the prevalence of diabetes in the Pacific Island region. As the former health minister of Papua New Guinea government, these issues were brought to my attention, and including my own country. I think all urban Papua New Guinea, I mean, Papua New Guinea is a big country, very big island. We have the rural population. Thank God that 85% are still out in the rural. It's the 15% in the urban cities. 70 to 80% are all pre-diabetic, and some local surveys have showed 40% prevalence in some local communities. So this is an issue that's growing exponentially, and we have statistics from WHO showing that Pacific Island region, the Western Pacific region, by year 2020 will be leading in terms of prevalence of diabetes in the whole world. They predict that the trend is going to be at 75%. And a small Pacific Island country of Nauru, they had wealth in the late 60s, 70s. They had a phosphate. The whole island is phosphate rich, and the British mined the phosphate, and the population is just so small that everyone received royalty, and they became so wealthy. They were at one stage they were the wealthiest people, highest per capita income in the whole world. I think the population is around 60,000. Today in Nauru, I think 100% pre-diabetic, 70% are diabetic. They have 12 dialysis machines working full time, a lot of amputations, and it's a warning to all of us, because Papua New Guinea is now becoming a very wealthy country with LNG. ExxonMobil is there now investing $15 billion to develop an LNG, which will start production in 2 years' time.
What is
So,
the LNG?
Liquid natural gas. We have one of the richest gas deposits in the world, and that will bring a lot of wealth to our country. And then, my concern, on a personal level, I'm pre-diabetic or almost there, and then I thank God for leading me here, and I thank Dr. Gabriel Cousens. Our issue in the world is, America is the most powerful country in the world. We look to America all the time. America is the world leader. There's no doubt about that. There is no dispute about that. And America has led in technology and advancement in pharmaceutical and health care, and we followed America, and also in food production. The world used to produce local food everywhere. Papua New Guinea has got the richest soil in the whole world, very fertile, and we have a lot of organic, local, native food. But now, with a lot of progress and advancement, the world's food production, I think 70% of the world's wheat is produced by America, and corn, 60% wheat, and 30% of the world's rice is produced here in America. America is the world's leader. There's no doubt about that. So while I was health minister, I raised up this issue on high fructose corn syrup at the United Nations General Assembly. I said, we are here talking about non-communicable disease epidemic that's threatening the people of this world. Now, we as leaders, we need to go down to the problem, the cause of the problem, instead of going around the bush, beating around the bush. We must.
Well, I mentioned earlier, and we
Yeah.
discussed a little bit about corporate responsibility. So as the natural gas is extracted,
Yes.
what kind of corporate responsibility would you like to see that would save, for one, the soil,
Yes.
from lychee and keeping the soil rich, but also to keep the well-being of the people?
Well, everybody's protecting the interest at the global level, corporate, the world economics and commercial finance. It's all about economics.
You
And
mean a return on investment
of
of
course.
cash versus humanitarian.
Exactly. So we need to make that shift. It has to happen. And the corporate community should not be scared. They must join and hold hands with this shift, with the movement, with leaders like Dr. Cousens and Dr. John Arnold here. We must hold hands and shift together. And while I was here, I learned that Walmart is now selling organically grown some nuts and seeds and vegetables. And I take my hat off to them. And I wish that, you know, Coca-Cola and other big organizations can shift away from high fructose corn syrup in some of their food and beverages and shift. If we can all shift together.
Well, if they don't, they
Yeah.
all need to set up dialysis machines
Exactly.
and have robots as workers.
Exactly.
Because there's not going to be any people left to
Exactly.
run their company.
Exactly. We are part of this community. We're all together. And the market is the people. If the people are sick and they're crippled and the disease, they can't produce,
That's
they can't
the
work.
return on the investment.
That's right. So while I was health minister, I tried to tax unhealthy food and subsidize healthy food. So, you know, the poor people are worse off. You know, it's the cheapest, nastiest food that's really affecting them because they're so poor.
Empty calories.
Empty calories,
nutrition.
junk food. So, you know, I try to make the cheap food become expensive, the unhealthy food,
Yeah.
and the healthy food, because the poor people can't afford nice vegetables, make it cheaper. So that's a strategy that Denmark is applying, Taiwan is considering, Fiji is taxing sugar, they have a sugar tax, and I feel governments should take action, not talk about it and plan and plan and plan, because you know the problem with governments, I've been in government, we're all tied with treaties and memberships to international bodies like WHO. So we need to conform all the time, or we have to wait for them to tell us what to do. No, we know the problem is simple, it's self-inflicted, as our doctor, famous doctor here, Dr. Gabriel Cousens, he's done the research. And many other people, it's so simple, it's self-inflicted, it's all about bad nutrition, lack of exercise, so let's address it. So, personal level, I think at the private level, we can do it, but when Dr. Cousens comes to Papua New Guinea with Dr. John Arnold in March, we will officially do a big conference, and I'm hoping that I could promote it so that many, many people come and listen. And then we'll have a private meeting with the leaders of the country. I will organize a meeting with my Prime Minister and my Health Minister to meet with officials at a smaller gathering. There'll be two big gatherings. One is the big one for the public at a big convention center, and a small one with all the leaders.
And maybe the agricultural people too, about the sustainable farming.
Of course, they're all coming.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about the holistic approach, the economics, the social, and the political side. It's good for government because the Prime Minister, I'm going to persuade him. You want to spend a lot of money and run out of money to do other things. You just want to spend money on curative medicine. We have to look at preventative
So
health.
it's looking at the long-term goals, not
Yes.
just the short-term.
Yes, yes. So any leader in his right mind would know that it's economically, it's make economic sense to invest in prevention. And it doesn't take much money.